We all have different definitions of success, but what if a 15-year-old girl says that earning a meal for a day is success for her? Please help me welcome Chinu, a girl who left with just 300 rupees in her pocket when she left her home at the age of 15 and is now the owner of a huge brand called Ruban's Fashion Accessories. Welcome, Chinu.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Very well.
We're very, very honored and privileged to have you at the Youthopedia talk show. Firstly, 300 rupees in your pocket at the age of 15 and you left your house? What is that all about?
Oh, that's been like a dream journey and one of the most crazy and scary parts of my life. So my mother used to work abroad and me, my brother and my sister, we used to live with my father. And I was always very headstrong, and so we had a big argument with my father, and then I said, I'm going to leave the house and go. And he said, okay, go, because obviously, I mean, at that age, a lot of girls are rebels and parents feel, oh, she'll come back. She's gone,
right.
Like she's going out for a few hours and she'll come back.
Right.
And I said, no, I'll go. And maybe he was also angry. So he said, okay, leave.
Yeah.
And I leave.
And you left?
Yeah, and I just left, and I was like, so headstrong that I just decided that no matter what, I will not go back.
Oh my God, wow.
And I never went back.
And how was it like as a 15-year-old out and about? Where did you go? How did you manage to survive? And where did you live?
So first night was the craziest because at that age, I didn't know where to go. I had no house, no place. Everything was very new to me. But then
right.
I had that instinct. I was like, no, I am going to make it happen and I'm never going back home.
It really hits you hard that this decision might not be the best for your interests. So did that realization ever happen? And if it happened, did you ever want to go back?
So you're right. It wasn't just an argument. It was way, way beyond that. And that is why such a big decision was taken. But yeah, there were situations when I would not get food like whole day, and I would survive on just a pack of milk, because I remember a pack of half a liter milk used to cost about 5 rupees or 6 rupees, like something like that.
Right.
And I could just afford that, or maybe because I was in Bombay, I could just afford like a 3 rupee vada pav at that time.
Yeah.
But it does. But then I just didn't want it to go back, and I had this whole thing of because I had told my father that I'm going to make it happen and I'm going to be successful. But at that age, I had no clue what success really meant. And for me, what happened, every time I did something, the goalpost kept changing for me. There was a time, as you said, there was a time for me, success was earning my daily meal.
Right.
After that, it was about, okay, can I buy a pair of shalwar kameez? Okay,
right.
can I buy a pair of shoes? Can I afford a 3-time meal? Was a dream for me.
Wow.
Like it was like, okay, if I'm able to, there were times I've sat and thought, okay, if I'm able to achieve 3-time meal, oh, I'm doing fabulous in life.
Because as a kid, that is the most important, right? To just get your food, right?
Yeah.
15 till what age did you actually manage to earn your 3 meals a day and get a stable job?
So I was very good at my work. I managed to get a job of a door-to-door sales girl, and because that was the only place where I would get paid on daily basis, because
right.
I didn't have time to wait for a month to go and get to go work and then wait for the salary for a month. That was not even a possibility for me.
Right.
So for me, it was like I need my daily money to eat my daily meal and manage my life.
So tell us about the experiences that helped you learn some practical skills.
So after my door-to-door sales, and then I was a team leader. Post that, then I got a job of a salesperson at a showroom which used to sell everything, those multi-brand and those showrooms which said suits and lehengas and stuff.
Of course.
So I got a job there as a salesperson, and my job was to identify what the customer needs, what demographic they belong to, what are the kind of budgets that they have, and then show them something and crack a sale.
Okay.
So slowly in this process, I actually started understanding consumer. I was one person in that store who could just by 2 or 3 questions would know exactly what the consumer would like.
Wanted.
So while I learned all of that, I worked there for about 2 years. Today, later in the years, I realized that there's a whole subject called consumer behavior.
Absolutely.
And in management colleges, and I'm
Yes.
like, oh my god, I learned it like practically.
I've studied it myself when I was in management business school. Yes,
Yeah.
so there is a consumer behavior is a entire
subject
yes.
altogether, and I learned it practically.
Right. So and I'm sure that practical knowledge helped you advance more further in that job that you were doing, and I'm sure you were able to progress into better jobs after that.
Not just at that time. I think that particular job, so I have done a lot of small and big jobs, but that particular job I think helps me even now in Ruban's accessories.
Absolutely.
What we do, how we have segmentation, how I understand that I need to have a product for every price point,
Right.
is all because of that practical knowledge that I
You
have.
gained.
Yeah.
Right. So all of these experiences were learning experiences.
Any
for you.
day, any day.
I really want to know the struggles. Like, of course, you learned so much, you were passionate about the work that you were doing, and you were very headstrong that you didn't want to go back, and you didn't, and you came out with flying colors. But what were the struggles? What were the tough times where you felt like, oh my God, this is not for me?
So the days where, so initially when I started, there were days when I would not be able to sell even a single coaster or a knife, and there were doors which would be just slammed on my face, and at the end of the day, I would not even make enough money to get my meal. Some days out of that, I would never thought that this is not for me, but it was disheartening.
Right.
It was disappointing. There were days when, when I would just go to at least 40 houses, and every house would just slam the door on my face without even giving me a chance to speak or sell.
Absolutely.
So selling was like something which I was doing for survival. Those kind of days, yes, but I never thought of giving up. The whole thought that I had that I am going to be successful. I will make it happen.
And it's the belief that counts,
Yeah,
really.
definitely.
in
And
life.
I was very clear. And also the life that I was living, I was somehow sure that this is not where I belong. It is just a situation. I never took it like, oh, this is my life. Oh, this is how it's going to be.
Forever. Yeah.
Forever. I
Yeah.
never felt like that. I knew. But I also at that tender age understood that I could only, pass this if I'm ready to work hard. Which I think was God's grace, because I think a lot of people give up.
You worked really hard to establish your jewelry business. So tell me now, then, how did that transition happen from being someone who was working at a store selling products to having your own brand? Like, how did that journey shift altogether?
So, so I got married in about 2014, and then my friends pushed me in 2016 to be a part of Glad Rags show, Glad Rags
okay.
Mrs. India, and there I was one of the finalists. Again, one of the happy days.
Yeah.
But there, while I was a part of the whole Glad Rags show, I realized the importance of jewelry. How women just love jewelry, and how a piece of jewelry could, like today, what you were wearing is complementing the look so well. Trust me,
Thank
without
you.
that,
It won't look complete.
it won't
Yeah,
look complete
absolutely.
with, without that piece.
Yes.
So this is something which stayed with me. This thought stayed with me, and I always loved fashion, loved jewelry. Never could afford it, but in my initial days also, I loved fashion and jewelry.
Right.
Later then, I started my first company, and I was into corporate merchandising. There, I used to deal with some of the top corporates of the country. Every brand was building legacy.
Absolutely.
Every brand had a story. Oh, started in 1960, started in 1940, started when? Oh, 50-year-old. Every brand had a story and was living a legacy. Again, this thought was very, very fascinating for me, that, will I be able to do something which, as the years pass, it should build a legacy
Of its own.
and that is what my thought was. And fashion was anyway my first love. The jewelry was my first love. So about 3 years after that, I started this brand called Ruban's Accessories.
2 to 3 years after Glad Rags
After-
happened, and that thought stayed with you.
No, after running my merchandising company. So that total would be about 5 years from the Glad Rags time.
Okay.
I started my brand with very small investment of just 3 lakhs.
Oh wow. And today I've heard that the revenue and the turnover is in crores, right?
Yes,
That
we
is
are
amazing.
a 1 million
Congratulations.
company now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the brand now. Like, what are the plans, and like, how did it grow? Was there a moment where you really hit it off, or was it a gradual, slow growth?
So we started with about just 3 lakhs investment at a very, very small space of about 70 square feet. From there, it was a very small space. So, people would come, buy a little bit and...
Oh, it was a physical store that you started?
Yeah, I started a physical store.
And this was in Bangalore?
This was in Bangalore.
Okay.
But from there on, I wanted to move forward, like what next? Because that small space was not giving me a brand visibility. So from there, I wanted to, move ahead. And then there was another mall in Bangalore called Forum.
Okay.
And I wanted to have a store there. That mall is one of the best mall in the south. So there, the waiting period for any brand is about 2 years for well-known brands also. But then
to get a store.
But then I wanted to open a store there, and I started chasing them. I started writing to them. I started calling them, and the answer was, okay, we'll get back to you. When a mall like that says get back to you, technically means they have no space and they're never going to come back.
Yeah.
But then, being me, I just started literally following up with them. And finally, I remember after 6 months of me chasing them, I told them, okay, this is the last call I'm making to you. I want you to come and just visit my store, have a look at my products. If you don't like it, fine, I don't chase you from now on. To my luck, the mall head agreed to come.
Okay.
Yeah, and he came into our store and he liked the product, he liked the whole thought, the whole plan that I had for the brand so much that he then and there agreed to give me a place. So I had a very limited fund. So either I could make a store and put my stock, or I could afford their deposit because, the mall deposits are really huge.
Huge, yeah.
But then I was confident about the study I had done about the mall. I was confident about my product. So what I did, I went to the mall head and I requested them to give me 1 month's time to pay this deposit. After that, the period was 4 months for me to open the store. But this 4 months, every day I would go to this mall at 10 o'clock in the morning and sit there till 8 o'clock just to understand consumer behavior.
Right. And this is where your practical knowledge came into.
Yes, just to understand that what is the kind of consumer who's walking inside that mall.
Right.
What is the age group that was walking inside that mall. And I just studied it so well that after 4 months when I opened the store, the first day itself, we did a recording sale at about 100 square feet store. We did a recording sale of 1.5 lakhs.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's only because you understood the need of the consumer.
The need of the consumer, the age group that was walking in, the pocket size that they have.
What is the message that you would like to share with the youth of the country who's watching this and wants to learn something from your journey?
So one thing very important that I would like to tell them is do what you love and do what you're passionate about. And no matter what the topic is, because success is not going to come easy and it's not going to come overnight. You are going to have failures, you're going to have horrible days, sleepless nights, bad days, more downs than up. But then if you love the subject that you're working on, if you really have a conviction towards your idea, you will keep going. And you're going to enjoy the process of building a legacy, of building an empire, which you cannot do if you don't enjoy the subject. Because the moment your first failure, you might still survive. Second failure, you might survive. Third failure, the person, if you don't like your subject, you will give up.
Right.
So work on something that you're really passionate about. Work on something that you truly love.
Absolutely. I think that's the ideal message that needs to be shared with the youth of the country today, because we live in a day and age where all sorts of professions are developing, and people have the opportunity to chase their dreams, to really do and create a niche in whatever they're passionate about.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the time, and you just need to make full use of it and not give up when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
Because that is what separates the winners from the ones who give up. Thank you, Chinu, for coming here and sharing your life journey with us, which is so inspirational and spreading such a positive message to the youth of the country.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And before you leave, we will give you a small little token of appreciation for being here. Thank you. There you go. Thank you so much for being on Youthopedia.
Thank you so much.
On that note, we come to an end of this season of the Youthopedia talk show. Honestly, it's been a wonderful experience hosting such inspiring young individuals whose stories are worth sharing. I hope, just like me, you guys are also inspired and motivated to do well in your life and to not just chase those dreams but to also spread positivity and happiness in the world. On that note, I will take your leave. This is me, Nitha Bhakal, signing off. Bye-bye.